amazing faces here on a Saturday morning. I can assure you when I was this age, I was going to university, I would not be awake at this time. I'll probably be recovering from a heart attack right now. So seeing you all here and also to the Youth Voice Summit for organizing this. I wish these sessions were there when I was back in university because it's definitely a good opportunity to learn, to network, and of course, if any of you would like to connect with me afterwards, feel free to reach out. So today I'm going to be speaking on leadership, skills development, and I'm going to pull a bit from my own career path and journey and just use that as an easy way to just provide insight on how to grow as a leader. Most of you who are especially part of the hackathon are trying to develop your own solutions, your own companies, your own brand identity. And so I'm hoping that this 15 minutes, as I've been told, would be an insightful 15-minute session, and I'll try to keep it concise as much as possible. Before I get started, I do have a question. So often you hear people talk about being a leader versus a manager. Is there really a difference? Is one better than the other? And so I'm curious to hear from a few of you, just two because of time. What is the difference, according to you, between leadership and management?
That's one. The other one.
That's a good question. To me, I think a leader is someone who he thinks broad, depending on a vision and a mission. Broad, and I think creatively. Then a manager is someone many, and I think critically, alafu ana focus on operations of a particular organization. Open. I don't know if you can understand.
Alright, so a leader is someone who thinks broad, and then you said a manager is someone who just thinks based on the organization. Is that yes? You have a hand up over here.
Okay, please take 3 answers. Because if I give it to him, I don't know the gender balance.
I think a leader serves and guides, and a manager oversees. Does it really serve?
Alright, a leader serves and guides, a manager oversees.
Hi, my name is Vidal. I think a leader is somebody who strives to be the best version of himself. And then I think a manager is somebody who works upon a set objectives.
Sorry, I didn't catch the last one?
I said a manager is somebody who works towards set objectives.
Okay. A leader is someone who guides and
Inspires.
and a manager is someone who sets objectives. Right. Anyone else?
Last one.
Last one, yes?
The lady.
Other difference between a leader and a manager is chosen, but a leader chooses himself or herself.
Alright, a manager is chosen, a leader chooses him or herself. And thank you all for your insights, and I'll say you're all right to some degree, because it really is how you view the role of a leader. Now, we've had a lot of scholars like Bas who claim that there is no difference between a leader and a manager, but then we have some people like Shun or even Yukil who claim that there is. And according to Yukil, he will define a leader as the process of influencing others, which a few of you mentioned, and facilitating individual and collective efforts to accomplish shared objectives, which some of you mentioned as a manager. So it really does depend on how you view each of the different titles and how you see yourself growing within your own career and growth path within your life. So for me personally, I believe that a leader is more of a visionary, someone who does influence, someone who creates that wider goal, someone who can inspire people. And then we have managers who run the day-to-day of an organization, and both are important. You can't have one without the other. So ideally, you need to have someone with a wider vision, and you need to have someone who keeps the engine running, the engine which is your organization, keeps it going as it has. So one thing when it comes to developing as a leader is to understand who you are. Because both of these are very important. And this can be done through understanding your personality and what you are as a person. And it will change. That's the interesting thing. You will change. You won't become a manager and always be a manager, or you won't start off as a leader and always be a leader. It does change with time. So one way to understand who you are, and one thing that I found very helpful for me in my journey, is through personality tests. Now I know people hear personality tests and you wonder, is it really accurate, and does it really give any helpful information? Some do, some don't. So it depends on which one you look for. Some of the ones I've used before, which I found very insightful, was the Discovery Insights, and then there's also another one called DISC Workplace Profile. What I liked about these ones is they used a series of questions to understand how you react to certain situations. And remember, you can do a test now, and 5 years down the line, you do the same test and you get a different result. Because you're also changing based on what you learn, as you grow, as you develop, based on your environment. So in that particular point in time, based on how you answer the question, it gives you an insight into your personality and into your viewpoint on how you deal with certain situations. It also gives you a viewpoint of different personality types and how they relate to certain things. So how, for example, for me, I like it when people are very direct. I don't like beating about the bush. If there's a problem, tell me this is the problem, this is what's going on, how can we solve it? Others, if you're direct, they get offended, they feel, they close off. So it's important to understand. So it's called situation analysis, understanding how different people relate to different situations. So it's that, and these personality tests can help you in doing that. In seeing different personality types, maybe I have a colleague A who is a certain personality type, and so ideally, as a manager, as a leader, when I'm giving her feedback, this is the approach I need to take. Whereas there's colleague B, who I can be direct with. There's another colleague who perhaps I need to handhold them along the way. And that is something very important to learn as you grow as a leader, is situation analysis. Learning how to deal with people differently. You cannot approach, whether it's your company or the workforce, with saying, this is who I am and you have to deal with me. You will face a high retention will be very low, because a lot of people, you have a high attrition rate, people will be leaving. Because not everyone will cooperate with that. But if you want to guide people along your journey, then you need to take the time to understand them and to know how to relate to them, how to communicate with them. So that is my second point about understanding how you relate with others. Now, going to my third one is identifying a leader or a manager who you admire. Someone who you can, and it's good to have, aspirational people. You can say Obama and others, and yes, they do a lot of great things, but you can't really observe them because they're very far. So find someone also a little closer to home. Now, when I was starting off in my career as a junior officer, I had a manager who I identified, who I really admired. I liked what she did. I liked her approach to things. And I saw her as my mentor, and whenever I had questions, I would go to her and ask her. When I became a manager, I found a director who I liked, who I admired, who I could view her, who I could attend meetings with, get their advice on how they deal with certain situations, and I use that as my guiding tool for, and of course, you're never the same because personalities are different, so you pick what you can and leave what doesn't work for you. But I found someone who I could go to whenever I had questions, who could give me advice and who could guide me on my journey. When I became a director, I now found a COO and a CEO, close friends of mine, who I could reach out to as mentors. And so when and even now as a COO, I still reach out to them and ask for advice. Because now, the situation is different. You have higher stakes, you have higher decisions you need to make, but you have to seek advice. So you can't grow by yourself. No one ever grows by themselves, so that's something very important to learn earlier on in your career. Even as some of the two speakers talked about family planning. Family planning is very important when you're growing as a leader, because you need to, as you see your vision of where you want to go, you also need life happens. I was speaking to a few people in the morning and telling them about how life happens, yeah? So as life happens, how can you plan for it? Because you need a community around you, whether it's your grandparents, whether it's a nanny, someone who can help you as you grow. So as you grow as a leader, there'll be scenarios where, depending on what kind of a person you are and how you want to become, for me, I personally love travel. And as they mentioned in the introduction, I need expansion. So I need expansion in other countries. But I do have 2 kids. So what happens when I need to travel to Ghana or to Nigeria or someone else or Germany? Who will watch my kids for me? So you need to have that kind of support structure around you as a leader, and it's important to build that. It's important to also build, other than your mentors at work and your support structure at home, you also need people to lean on. You need friends who you can call up and just say, this is a bad day. I'm having a really bad day. Can we meet up? Can we talk? Can you give me some advice? I have people I go to who I know in 5 minutes I'll be laughing. And I'm happy on the call, and they just put me back in a good mood, remind me of what it is that I stand for, where I am. And it's important to also build that. So build a community around you as you grow. I know in university, right now you're mostly, maybe, I don't know. For me, then I had friends who were more drinking partners. You need to learn to transition slowly out of that as you grow as a leader. It doesn't, not that it's a bad thing, again, it's good to have fun. You need to enjoy that as well. But also make sure that you have support systems around you that speak to the various aspects of your life. And I did hear one of the speakers saying that sometimes you'll be told, as you're going to an interview, oh, do you have 2 or 3 or 5 years experience? And you just graduated. Now, I'll tell you something. One of the colleagues, someone I hired last year, he is still a campus student, and he's transitioned into online studying. And what he did is that he built a website. So he did our media study, and he built a website, a very nice one. Started doing some videos and helping in content development. And then he applied. And when he was applying, looking at what he's done, the website he's built, the projects he's done, we were quite surprised to find out he's still a student. But he had shown so much promise that he decided, okay, let's see how we can make it work. You're a student, but you do want to learn, you want to give the opportunity to learn, and we can see that you can do good work. By the time he graduates, he will have 3 years experience. When I was in campus, I had a friend who was working doing data entry at her uncle's. That still counts as experience. So find what you can do, be it something small or simple, find opportunities for yourself. And that's something that goes to my other point. As a leader, you need to create the door for you, especially women. Doors don't always open. Sometimes you have sometimes, unfortunately, you have to prove yourself a little more. And you need to create the door for yourself. You need to create those opportunities. There was someone who talked about when you're in the meeting room, they won't ask you questions. It's fine. Answer questions anyway. They're not asking you a question, but make suggestions anyway. Ask questions. Raise comments. That is how I've grown in my career. I didn't wait to be asked. I asked if I could join. There's a meeting happening. I'll ask, oh, what meeting is going on? What does it entail? Can I join and listen? As you're listening, you ask questions. You ask comments. Next time they have a similar meeting, they carry you along. Right? And more as you show you, and you don't always have to have the right answer. It's okay to make it. In fact, you'll make so many mistakes within your life, a lot. And it's okay as long as you learn from it. But don't be afraid to ask to ask, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just whenever you want, if you want something, be willing to go and ask. I hear there's this workshop happening. Can I come in and do this? Can I come in and do that? When I was starting off as a manager, I wasn't often called to speaking engagements, and so I'll research and see what engagements are happening, and then I'll call the organizers and tell them, "You're speaking on this. Can I come and talk for like a few minutes or something?" Now I'm asked for more events that I can actually agree to because of my schedule, that I have to even refer people to others, to refer other people to those engagements. So you start somewhere, but you need to be willing to go for what you want and to really, really ask the questions. Now, lastly, because I think my 15 minutes is almost over, if it's not already, is also to research. So you you won't just enter your role as a manager or as a director, as a COO. You won't just enter and automatically you know how to do it. You need to research about what you want to do. And there's this saying, which I was told in my career, actually very early, and I'm very happy for the person who told me this. You will start doing the work before you're given the work. Before you become a manager, you need to already be acting as a manager. And it doesn't mean that you're bossing people around, it's that you're actually creating impact for the organization. So even as you think about becoming a director, think about becoming managers, think about becoming leaders, you need to start working on that beforehand. And the only way you can do that is through researching. Seeing what does that particular role entail. What is the job description for that role? Can I do it? How can I learn to do it? So that when you're already acting in that position, by the time you're having a performance review and you're saying, well, I've been doing 1, 2, 3, and I think it's about time that I got a promotion or a title change, because that's usually how most of my meetings have been. There's no question about it, because they've also seen it. They've seen how you've been performing, they've seen what you've been doing. And also something I've noticed, especially with most of the women that I've led in my team, you often find the men saying that you need to promote me or I need a raise. Women, we tend to wait a bit and let them offer it to us. And we need to stop doing that. You need to ask for it. When you're having a performance review, do not be afraid or ashamed or humble about what you have achieved. Because you've achieved it and you put a lot of work and time. You need to be there, you need to state it clearly. And yes, they may say no, also you need to be respectful and polite, but you need to showcase what you've done. And that is how you will grow within your career, and that is how you will develop as a leader. And lastly, as I mentioned, it is a journey, and it will take time. Over my career, as growing as a leader, throughout the process, it's been over 10 years, and I'm still learning. I'm still finding out new things. I'm still making mistakes and improving as I go along. So you must always be open and willing to learn along the way. So to summarize, do not be afraid to stand up and ask and speak out for yourself. Remember that it's a journey and take your time. Find a mentor who can guide you. Understand yourself, learn to understand yourself, understand who you are, and understand the people around you. And enjoy the journey as you go along. So that's it from me.